Hey guys, so I want to talk about my experience living in Costa Rica during the whole year of 2020 and talk about some my spiritual journey also, because that was a huge part of it. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because a few people have asked me what my experience was like living there, so I figured I would just do a video and just talk about the whole thing. So in December of 2019, I bought a ticket to come to Costa Rica, mostly just because I just felt this pull to go, and I love the culture there, and I love the nature and the jungle. So I was like, yeah, I want to go see Costa Rica. And for those of you who don't know, I work from my laptop, so I just travel and work at the same time. So Costa Rica was calling me, so in January of 2020 I decided to go. And I didn't really have a plan or anything. I just showed up and looked for an apartment on Craigslist, and I found this really awesome place in a random town I never heard of before. So decided to live there, and everything was good. I was just working from a laptop, going very inward, doing like yoga and meditation, and I didn't really have much of a social life. I was just wanting to focus on myself. And then ended up staying until March, and I was thinking about going to Spain or somewhere in Europe, but then the pandemic happened, so I had the choice to either stay where I was at or I could fly back home before things got worse. So I made the decision to stay because I loved Costa Rica. I wasn't ready to leave, and I felt safer there. So yeah, I decided to stay, and for the first few months, it was very simple living. I was just right near the beach and a 5-minute walk to the jungle. So on a day-to-day basis, I would walk into the jungle and do yoga, eat some tropical fruits in the nearby trees on the property I was living at. So it was really nice. And the whole COVID situation was really chill for the most part. We had to wear masks like going inside grocery stores, but other than that, not a lot of people were wearing them like when you're out and about. So it was very like laid back compared to the States and other places in Europe. And then in July, so I ended up staying in that same apartment until July, and then I met a friend who told me about this other part of Costa Rica on the Caribbean side called Puerto Viejo. And so I decided to move there with her, and it was the coolest town ever. It's the Afro-Caribbean, so it has a lot of influence from like Jamaica. So there's a lot of diversity there, and the culture, it's like its own little country within Costa Rica. And I really like this town in particular because it's like a bike culture. Everyone's riding their bikes. It's super beachy. Everyone's wearing bathing suits and getting fruits and veggies from the stands there. So it was very simple living. I lived like barefoot for months. I didn't put on shoes for months, and I just walked in the grocery stores and walked everywhere barefoot, and it was so nice. I loved like drinking coconuts and just having a more relaxed lifestyle. I grew up very busy and always thinking about work and like doing. So it was nice to come to a culture where everything was just more chill, and just enjoying the simple pleasures of life. That was really nice. So yeah, besides like the experience there, there was waterfalls super close by. The jungle was right there also. So you're just immersed in nature, which is really, really beautiful. And my favorite part though about my experience being in Costa Rica was the people I met there. So like in this town, there was a mix of tourists and locals, and a lot of the tourists were also international travelers, other like millennials from all over the world. And like when the pandemic happened, everyone just decided to stay in Costa Rica. And so for like months on end, I got to meet other travelers, and we just had like our home base in that town. So it was really cool to meet so many different kinds of people and really like create just like a soul family while I was there, when I was away from my actual family here in California. So yeah, that experience happened, and the most beautiful part of everything though was meeting a conscious community while I was there. So when I first arrived, I met a couple people and they added me to this group chat of over 100 people who are very similar minded to me. They are all like spiritual, conscious, healthy living lifestyle. So I really got to connect with like my soul family while I was there. It's cool because I follow a lot of people on social media who I connect with very deeply, but this was the first time ever where I got to meet my soul family in person, and it was so incredible. Like being able to have just deep conversations where you just get each other and understand each other, and there's no like small talk, you know, you just meet them and you just connect so deeply, so quickly. So that was one thing that I'd never experienced before, and it was so nice. And aside from that, like in the group chat, they always post every day. There was events going on in the town. There was like women's sharing circles, there was cacao ceremonies, full moon, new moon ceremonies, ecstatic dances, drum circles, fire circles, singing. So many really cool events, and like learning how to, there's like a lot of workshops to learn how to do everything. So that was the lifestyle there. It was so active, so much like learning and growing and connecting, and it was cool being in this space because the energy of the land, whoops, my battery is running low. The energy of the land is like there's a lot of energy there because it's like in the jungle. There's a lot of life there, and the people, like everything is such a high vibe, and something's really special about this place because it brings out all the stuff that you've kept suppressed in you. So you know, any like pains or like traumas you've been through, everything comes to the surface while you're there. And like me and a bunch of my friends all experienced this, and that was a huge experience for me while I was there because I always avoided like doing my shadow work and like looking at the parts of myself I didn't want to see, like my shadow side. I just was this like light and love kind of person in the spiritual community, and I didn't realize that I had a subconscious fear of actually feeling pain and like revisiting things that have hurt me in the past that I was just trying to bypass on my journey. So a lot of stuff came out to the surface, and I went like on a really beautiful healing journey and learned a lot about myself. So that was a huge breakthrough of mine, and I realized while I was there that I was trying to go through my spiritual journey logically with my mind, because I'm the kind of person who likes to do research on things, and I like to read books and watch YouTube videos, and I was trying to go through it logically through all the information I could receive, but I realized that it's feeling based. You know, your spiritual journey is feeling based, and it's your feelings in your heart guide you through it, and I was trying to go through it logically. So that was a huge thing that I witnessed, that I was doing not even conscious of. So that was a really powerful realization for myself. But one of the biggest things I noticed about living in this kind of place with such like wise souls and people who are just like very evolved and they just have this higher perspective of life, I've been able to see how life can evolve to for everyone in the whole globe, like just relationship dynamics and the way people speak to each other, and just meeting people who are so compassionate and unconditionally loving. There's no like judgment or anything. You go and you meet these people and you just feel accepted, and you just feel free to just be your authentic self. And I've never really felt that before growing up. It was just this really freeing feeling to meet people that accept you for who you are and who just love you right away. So that was really beautiful, and also connecting like on a deeper level with people, being able to just hold someone and just cry together, and just asking each other every day, you know, how are you feeling today? And being super vulnerable and open, and just saying the truth of how you feel. You know, there's no masking. We're not pretending to be shiny and like everything's okay. Like we really got deep with each other and talked about what was really like on our hearts. And it was so inspiring me to be around that kind of space, because as a society, we've been so conditioned to be disconnected from our emotions and to feel uncomfortable talking about these things with other people, and being in this space and this kind of community really showed me how powerful and how healing it is to have people who hold space for you, and who you can just share these things with. It's so important for all of our journeys and for our mental health and emotional health and spiritual prosperity. So that was a huge experience for me while I was there. But yeah, so that was my experience in a nutshell. I didn't know how long I was going to end up staying. I felt like I could have stayed there forever, but in March of 2021, the visas ended for tourists, because usually you can only stay living in Costa Rica for 3 months, but when COVID happened, they kept extending it for us to stay longer and longer. So I ended up staying until it ended, which was March of 2021. So I was there technically for a year and 3 months, and I could either go live in another country or come back home, and I felt really called to just come back home and connect with my family again and integrate after that experience, because it was a lot. I learned and grew so much. So yeah, that was everything in a nutshell. Oh, another thing too that I experienced when I was there is experienced so much magic. And magic is something I can't really explain, but basically that little things every day that you just can't, you just can't explain. There's no logical explanation for certain things, like talking about, thinking about someone, and within like 5 seconds they appear in front of you and you're like, oh, I was just thinking about you. So like all of these like really interesting synchronicities that happen on a day-to-day basis, like angel numbers appearing as you're speaking about something, and it's just really cool to like be in this experience and witness so many things happening around you, and you're like, wow, I'm literally like in a whole other world, and I'm in like magic land. That's what it felt like for me, and it just opened my eyes to a lot. So yeah, I think through this experience, and I just want to share that, to always follow your gut feeling and your intuition, and to just have fun with life and be light with it. If I hadn't followed my gut feeling to go to Costa Rica, I would have probably ended up being stuck in the States during the whole pandemic. And I really feel like I felt the call to go, because Source was like telling me, okay, Jackie, like I'm gonna bring you to Costa Rica, and because this is the experience you need right now, and I'm gonna put you like in a cocoon and like protect you in this little bubble, and because this is the experience you need. I know we all get the experience that we need during our different phases of our lives, and I really felt like that's why I felt called to go there, because I needed to go through that experience to look at myself more deeply and go do my shadow work, meet really deep souls who were really like beautiful reflection for myself, so I could understand myself better. So yeah, and going back to what I was saying before, but yeah, just have more fun with life. I know it can get a lot of things come up, and we don't have to be so serious. Be light with it, dance with it, and just follow your intuition and your heart. I know our ego and our mind will try to keep us in our comfort zone, and that's not where the growth happens, though. Just taking that leap of faith, and I promise you, the universe will always, God, source, whatever term you want to use, it's always going to catch you. And me going to Costa Rica was the proof for that for myself. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful